What you'll see in this brief video is based on the numbers that are displayed just before the video starts. And of course, it's possible that it may not pan out. It is based on the fact that the numbers are a little lower and that a report by scientists a couple of days ago seemed to indicate we may be reaching the top of the curve, the peak, which would be welcome news. So let's hope. Back at the end of March, I posted a video where I talked about the Saturn-Mars conjunction that was happening at the time and the possibility that as Mars moved forward away from Saturn, there might be some positive development in the coronavirus pandemic situation. And the logic is that Saturn and Mars together is not a particularly fortunate conjunction. And prior to that, there was a traffic jam over here in the 25th degree of Capricorn where Saturn and Mars both were. And that was actually probably the worst of it in terms of the grim reality we were all facing. That takes us back to around the spring point or the 25th of March, in that range. So now what we see is if we push this forward, Mars starts to separate, move forward, you see at 4 degrees. I had initially thought perhaps by the 7th it might be enough, but nothing really much happened other than that if we go back to the 31st when they were conjunct, back then there still was a lot of resistance in the country to social distancing. Places like Florida, for example, the governor wouldn't implement the social distancing, and there are a number of other places that were resisting. But then as Mars separated from Saturn, that was corrected and people got more serious. And then if we go forward and we get into this range, I heard a report a couple of days ago that scientists believe the data is pointing to the peak, reaching a peak in terms of numbers, which of course would be great news. And so here we are now today, and Mars is 8 degrees away from Saturn. Even back here it was basically 6-7 degrees. So I noticed that today's numbers, the infections are still really high, as are the deaths, but they are appearing to become a little lower. And so it's possible this is what it is around this Saturn-Mars conjunction separating. I do still think, however, that the big dog is Pluto. Pluto, you see, is due to station around the 25th. If we push this forward, you see there the S is the station, and then it's going to go retrograde, where it'll be for several months. But in fact, we're at the heart of the station right now, strictly speaking, because a week in front, 10 days in front, a week to 10 days on the other side is very strong planetary energy from whatever planet is stationing. And so that'll probably be an even bigger retreat, or let's just say a little more daylight than the current factor here, Saturn-Mars, is providing. And all of that, of course, is going to be subject to what the pandemic itself does, perhaps also what our president decides to do, because he's itching to open the economy and so forth. But I strongly suspect that it's out of his hands now, and he's going to be too scared to make any kind of move until it looks pretty good on the horizon. I'm sure scientists will tell him, here are the possible consequences, and when he assesses it, he's not going to make a move unless the coast is really clear or relatively clear. Let's hope.